So I'll continue where I finished last time, in the middle of the chapter number 2, called Clearing Illness and Habits. So I go straight into reading. More immediate than regaining health for some people is the need to examine habits which are running the body down. Another way to look at this is to make a choice between living as you are for a short time or living long if you are willing to grow and make the call for changes. Once again, this is a matter of personal choice. Right Use of Will offers an opportunity to accomplish more and also give oneself the opportunity to learn to come and go at will, once again, from the physical plane without having to use the birth-death approach. Yeah, just if you ever decided that you wanted to go to different planes of existence, just speed your body up a little bit and off you go. Maybe it's not the way it appears, but it is definitely more like, for me personally, coming back to the gifts of what happened over the 3 decades of working with this material, was that my emotional and feeling body has definitely loosened up, become way more accepting towards some feelings, and found harmony and balance, and loving acceptance towards many feelings which I would definitely not allow myself to feel before. And having the feelings available 24/7, the way they are supposed to be working, not just some kind of burden in the body. There's like, oh no, not this feeling again. When that's over, when one really begins to realize that our feelings are our best friend. There's nothing closer to us, particularly if you're a person who lives more in a thought realm and the mind realm. Yeah, so your closest ally is your feeling. However, some people live only in this feeling realm and they don't live that much in their mind, and so for them, listening to someone talking, it's like, it could be unbearable. Because I know the difference between how it feels when I go into these states where my mind it's not turned off, but it's grounded with feeling. So the thoughts, if any, are more like I can decide to have it or not. And how immediately the will expands and begins to, in some way, reverberate or vibrate and feel happy. I'm not talking about ecstasy. I'm talking about just feeling good. Maybe some of you remember that section when I was talking about just feeling good and learning how to do that for long periods of time. Because once we become friends with feelings, we also want to hang out with them. So personally, I hang out with my feelings in a loving embrace. So if I, let's say, decide to meditate, find out what is the feeling that's flowing in me in that very moment, and I would connect to it and I say, hey, I feel you, I see you, let's hang out together. And then I enter into this communion with the will. At the beginning, I was very much looking for evolving, meeting, accepting, and evolving feelings that were more of a negative nature. Because one of the big habits that I want to talk about here is avoiding feelings. It's a habit. Mind's preoccupation with its own nightmare can preoccupy the day and make you busy chasing little endeavors and find no time to spend with you, the part of you that only feels, which is actually quite beautiful. It's very fulfilling. I always see this word fulfill as like a full feel. You're fully feeling with yourself. And so when I finally get to this stage where I caught myself in a habitual pattern of trying to evolve my negative feelings, the feelings that were more intense and the ones that we call as undesirable, I switched the game into going like, wow, what about expressing positive feelings? I'm seriously talking about years of trying to feel the rage and deep terror, and which this book have endless source of helping you to access, because those are heavily denied qualities of feelings in ourselves that don't really fit into this society except in a state of denial when they then look extremely aggressive and extremely terrifying states of where they express. So I begin to express feelings that were really dark for so long. And this was such a game changer, and I thought, wow, negative feelings, that was difficult. Let's do the positive feelings now. Wasn't I wrong about that? And we can try that if you like. Could you just allow yourself to find any idea of joy within yourself? Anything that turns on just being joyous. It can be a situation, it can be a memory of a child, or anything joyful, playful dog, whatever kicks in this feeling in you that is of a joyful nature. Someone got you a beautiful present or anything, just like, oh gosh, this was so nice. Now see if we could land there. Let's do joy. So could you allow yourself to feel joy? Just say yes. We're going to give will an absolute open gate, an open door to fully express itself. Like, what does the joy truly feel if you stay with it? Not joy because someone's cracking jokes, but just being present in a sustained awareness of a feeling that it's now in full acceptance as a part of your whole being, expressing wholeheartedly. So you're thinking joy, you're feeling joy, your heart loves it, your body moves with that, and you are fully encompassing this one expression of pure joy. And so I say, could you allow that more? You just say yes. If you're a game, of course. You can also do another feeling if that's better for you. This is just an example. And You allow yourself to just feel joy even more. Just say yes. And immediately step back and notice how your feeling body automatically wants to express it. Because that is the right use of will. You have an idea, and the will gives it a full expression. Now, at some point you will begin to feel joy and you might go, oh, this is a bit intense. Yeah, because it will intensify. So you might have all sorts of thoughts comes in that will block you from going any further. So you can pause for a moment and then allow it again. And notice how many thoughts creep in to distract you, to disrupt this union or communion with this part of you that feels. This is what actually is called in some spiritual works, it's called the at-one-ment or atonement. You become one with all of you. Your thoughts are not in conflict. Your feeling is not in conflict. Your heart is basically become powered by these two forces, one from the above, which is the spirit, one which is the will below, and your heart will begin to expand it, extend it out, and your body will go into this like an elevated expression. Now you could be surprised how all of this could happen with a negative feeling as well. So just to switch over, so you could allow yourself to feel shitty in any way you like. You know, it's a kind of unpleasant feeling of your choice. Just grab one and ask yourself, could I allow myself to have this? And just say yes. And you might be pleasantly surprised that negative feeling will going to feel quite good, because it's not necessarily the feeling that is the problem. It's the part of the mind that trying to stop is what causes the pain. Because feeling is just trying to express itself, and this lid comes on and goes, no, 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 not you. I can have this feeling or that feeling, but not you. And now there is a conflict. Now there is pressure. But it's not the feeling that's the problem. It's the pressure. So the mind will awaken to the fact that it's causal in the unpleasant feelings. Yeah, because it does not give them free flow of expression. Doesn't allow the feeling to just express itself, because it might think it's inappropriate, or what the others say if I express this, and there could be myriads of answers why you shouldn't be having this feeling freely flowing in you. And yet you might find that the most horrible feelings are actually pure ecstasy. Now that's a game changer, right? So it's not about getting rid of feelings or growing above them, but fully entering, just like it said before, entering into the sickness, and you become familiar with it until the sickness can show you why is it manifesting, why is this happening. Then the body will suggest to do something, and then we'll go and do it and see if that made any difference. Just like I used the example last time with my guitar playing. I say, okay, I'll stop right away, and my intense back pain that was going on for a prolonged period of time was gone in an instant. So once we find the cause, the effects immediately begin to either ease off or disappear. So now there are so many options of what we could, I call this a development of our emotional intelligence. And I do this pretty much daily, that I just allow myself either feel what's arising, or I find myself, I've got lists of feelings from the worst, the feelings of that are closer to the lowest denomination, like apathy or grief, or and I just allow myself to feel these feelings, and this has really evolved my emotional intelligence, because in a peaceful state of being, in a peaceful state, I called in feelings and I meet them with a loving acceptance, and this, particularly with this yes to them. Could I allow myself to feel this? Yes. I'm just going to allow myself to feel this feeling. And as soon as I do that, I can feel this exquisite expansion. And then I just step back and allow the will, the free flow. Just allow it to free flow. I usually sit quite erect and quite present with what I'm doing. I'm not just like lounging around, but I'm sitting more really with it. And then so I'm gonna throw in a few examples. So from the list that I use, because like I say, an habitual pattern of getting rid of feeling, we're developing an habitual pattern of expressing feeling. So now that you are, let's say, in a pretty laid-back scenario here, what if you allow yourself to feel a bit shaky? So the minute I say that word, something is going to creep in, because that's how it works. Thought comes in and a feeling or a body is trying to manifest the sensation of it. So just allow yourself to feel shaky, and then you just say yes. And you will immediately feel like your will just goes, oh my God, I can just express this. I don't have to beg for a space for this. So you just allow yourself to feel a bit shaky. If it's too much, you just pause, because you're fully present. You have absolute control over this. And then you either allow it more, or you can also say, no, this I really don't want to feel right now. And that's also right use of will, that you don't override your mind in its decisions, what it really wants to do. So that becomes they begin to no longer override each other. And then I'm gonna jump into like a higher state, which is like a state of acceptance, even peace. So could you allow yourself to feel glowing? Say yes. And a glow just comes. And could you allow it more? Just say yes. Normally if I say, could you allow yourself to feel this more, you begin to think. And you don't want to think. You just want to step back and get to know what your will is capable of. We are meeting the most powerful part of ourselves. Mind is powerful, no kidding. Light is powerful, no kidding. But this will, it's like a next level of expression. I'll do another one. Could you allow yourself to feel serenity. Just say yes. And bingo. There it is. Could you allow it more? Just say yes. Okay, we're going to let that go and we're going to jump down in the deep end. Can you allow yourself to feel neglected? Yeah, say yes. And I don't know if you just heard me just giggling, but it's like that. I feel these so-called negative feelings, but they're delicious because they're just a flow. It's a flow of this thing. Now, let me put this into the way I understand what Bible says. For example, it said, if you eat from this tree of good and evil, you will lose paradise. I don't know exactly how it says in the Bible, but it's that same quality. See, if you decide to eat from this good and bad, like this is a good feeling and I can allow this, but this is a bad feeling, I can't allow it. You split yourself into these two camps. You begin to live dual life. And your unity, inner unity, is lost. Right? And then you're trying to make this world somewhere somehow working, and you're chasing unity, but you actually, this is what kicks you out of there. You see my point? So what this will do, this will at one you with all of your feelings, with all of your expressions. Let's try a higher one. Can you allow yourself to feel loving? Say yes. You must not forget to say yes, and then step back. And you know what's the beauty about this is? You step back and you let the will show you what that actually feels like, because all the gifts of God are given us, right? We have them already. Everything is in you right now. Some of it you express, means you give, and so you have it. Some things you hide, means you deny, and so it appears like you don't have it. But all of this, like the kingdom of heaven, is within us. It's absolutely true. And it's not upstairs, it's not above, it's below. It's downstairs in the will. Even when you look at the word will, if someone writes you a will, you're gonna get some inheritance. So the gift of God is already been given you. So like God goes, hey, kiddo, here is my inheritance for you. These gifts are yours. Give them and you will have them. And you go like, I'm not gonna give. I'm just gonna hold on to everything. Well, guess what? You experiencing the effect of that decision. You can't feel fulfilled because your feelings are not fully feeling, so you can fully feel fulfilled. Yeah? It's a little bit harder for me to talk when I'm allowing this much feeling into the field, but hey, this is what's gonna happen. You might find yourself doing this, and next minute you feel completely stoned, like you're really going to feel like you've taken something, or you're falling into this profound state of, it's just like a beautiful okayness. Like a new state of being. Because we're discovering what it's like if we can express every single feeling without needing to put a barrier or some kind of block that we have placed on top of this kingdom. Yeah. Search for love is actually a very simple thing, because everyone feels love. including, we just did it, right? Could you allow yourself to feel loving? Boom, there it is. Now begin to give that love. Just begin to give it. Just show you how far this can go. Could you allow yourself to feel love? And can you allow it more? It must say yes. And then step back and allow it even more. Remember to say yes. And then more, and then way more than that. But also allow yourself to feel it in your feet, in your legs, in your sacrum, in your chest, from your hands, from your eyes. Just feel love oozing everywhere. Yeah. Teach only love. This is what this is. Teach only love is be only this. Be love, and then give it. And how much you're feeling it, that's how much you're giving it. So if you feel there is still not enough love in your life, well, begin to give it to a point that it becomes unbearable, and then just step back a little bit and find like a sweet spot of this love and just bring it wherever you go, and it's done. So to remove these, all sorts of blocks that we have, they're mainly to do with our thinking and relating to the feeling. Yeah. You begin to feel love, tiny made ideas begin to creep into your mind. You got to train your mind a little bit to not preoccupy it with mad thinking. So you become present instead of thinking, right? Now you're present for every feeling that arises. And all you do, you say a word and it becomes flesh by what? By allowing it to be expressed, by allowing it to be felt. So now you're feeling love and you're giving it, and then notice what takes you out of there. Comes some crazy idea to stop it. Otherwise you'll be like living here. And it's that simple. It's a matter of choice. You can study love, but that just gives you enormous amount of data to consume, and until you feel it, it's meaningless. Love is completely meaningless unless if it's just a word, because it hasn't become flesh yet, it hasn't been fully manifested, and it hasn't been fulfilling yet. So I would say this is one of those kind of like a good habits to begin to put into the daily practice. For a while it takes a little practice. Eventually I can't even not do this. It's whatever's arising, that yes is always there. However, sometimes you might have a no, and then go with no. It's not okay, I don't want to feel this. And just because you are clear, even your will go, cool, I'm with you. We don't have to feel this, not right now. And also don't dismiss something like that. It might feel completely different. Actually, oftentimes when I say no, what happens, suddenly it comes on its own. And that feeling is right there. I'm going like, wow. Because the will felt my honesty. Felt this consistent presence that I also don't deny myself as a thinker. So, anyway, that was a little detour right there. But hey, that's a good one. And I'm going to make a separate recording for this particular practice, and I'll use many different words that if you wanted to practice this with guidance, then it'll be just available Because for me, this was a most profound help with the emotional intelligence, which is really being able to feel without complications, without making a big drama or big deal with it as well. So now I'm coming back to the text now, and going to this subject of what it feels like when you begin to expand your physical body, you or emotional body. You will also be able to reach to different dimensions of being, and the feeling body that could never inform you much because you saw it was such a heavy lid put on top of it, it begins to inform you about things you did not know existed. Like you will know what's alive. You will actually know what's true and what is in conflict. Yeah. Now, so I wanted to elaborate a little bit of what is the right use of will. How does one use this will? Not, hey, you used me, right? It's not that way. It's like, what is the right way of expressing with the will, huh? So right use of will offers an opportunity to accomplish more and also give oneself the opportunity to learn, to come and go at will, once again from physical plane, without having to use the birth-death approach. That's pretty mega, right? This allows the spirit to leave Earth with its entire self, rather than only with the less dense levels of vibration. Now, if we don't go into these lower levels of vibration and we'll just chase higher vibration because that's all spiritually popular, we're not going anywhere, because this lower density will always drag us back. It's magnetic, and you can't leave without all of you. You got to be able to speed all of yourself up. Now, this is necessary because the physical part of everyone is just as much as part of the spirit as any other part. You see? Those that judge the physical self to be base and dense find themselves be trapped in this, and they begin to break off from what they did not love and leave the physical body behind when they long for other planes of existence and found they could no longer speed up their physical body and take it along. Now this is pretty wild, isn't it? This is like next level, right? Because we hear about all of this, but no one gives you a real tool how to do it. Yeah? And particularly the tool to get in touch with these lower planes of existence, this denser part of yourself. Yeah? That's why it is important to be able to reverberate what we call the negative feelings and give them life, give open space for them, so they're not locked up in what it feels like to be a body. Yeah, it's like this. You got this vault inside that's locked up, and nothing moves, and all then we're left is with the mind rambling, like I am right now. But I don't know any other way how to get this across, although I know that sound is a way where this can incredibly speed up. So if you wanted to enhance it, whatever feeling you feel, you add a sound to it, and next minute you have a completely different language of expression. But this particular tool of going into this denser aspect of the self and reverberate it again, so it's no longer so dense that it becomes physical, and then it becomes very slow. As you can see, everything takes forever to manifest in here, including sickness, right? Sickness usually takes quite a long time before it fully manifests into a real sickness. Yeah, the symptoms are there. If you don't pay attention, it becomes so dense that it becomes, hey, here it is. Now deal with it. And then it's way more difficult. Now, more immediate than leaving Earth at will is the offering Right Soul has of enjoying life to its fullest. This is what most people say they're doing when they indulge in habits. But here it is. But habits actually set the body up for physical death. Ta-da! Habits appeal to memories of feeling good. Habits are a problem because they override the sensitive response of the body to a particular situation and instead impose a ritualized response of learned behavior the person has used in the past, whether the present calls for the same response or not. Response from habit prohibits response that is attuned to the particular situation. So, if I wake up in the morning, I go like, let's have some coffee. That was so good yesterday. I am not actually tuning what my body wants. So, body's gonna take coffee, and that's that. But it could be all sorts of other things. Just notice, for example, like when you wake up in the morning, how you do that same routine. Yeah? You get up the same way, straight to one room, then into the next room. There you do that, then you do this, and then you do that, and you have these routines. Instead of going like, hey body, what's up? The body goes, get out of here. You go, hang on, I gotta brush my teeth and do my bed and do this and do that. And that's all habitual responses. And the body goes, sure. And next minute you go, oh, I was gonna go for a walk. And then the body doesn't get what it really truly needs. And hey, I'm so good at this myself. So that's why I really love this chapter and love looking into it again. Looking at how to tune to the body, so really following what body suggests. But anyway, it's much better explained in the book than me raving about it. So body and body's actions remain imbalanced unless the person is willing to respond to the true needs of the moment rather than taking a habit learned in the past and projecting it onto the present because it seemed to apply. All habits need attention. For many, such as way of breathing, making love, if you do, the routines, start here and then there and then there and then this, right? Particular way of doing it. Eating by the clock. This is something I've been definitely talking about a lot. Having had done the breatharian experience, it's really quite incredible what we do and how conditioned we are, to eat 3 times a day and then a little snacks in the name of health. It's like, what? This is healthy for me. Well, Did your body say that, or did you read it somewhere? Did the body say, hey, I want this particular nuts with dry fruits? Or was it something you do for years now? So eating by the clock, all these can be easily overlooked. Now, habits can only be released if the person is ready to see why the habit is there. All the feelings around the habit pattern need to be accepted and expressed also. Body needs to express its feelings about habit patterns. If habits are suppressing this communication, but intent is to end the habit of overriding parts of the self, it will be necessary to let habits lapse to see what has been suppressed. The feelings underneath habitual responses are often feelings that are being denied by the person who is using habits instead of true response. This whole idea of true response, that's a really good word to sit with. True response, particularly in our relating with other people. Are we truly responding? Are we truly saying what's there? Or are we habitually saying things that we're not going to stir up anything? Because true response is really this part of you, like you don't even know what's going to come up. So if we set up our relationship and saying, hey, I'm going to be using true response, and some crazy stuff might come up, be with me, don't reject me here, yeah? So you have this free flow of true response. You know, how many times you don't want to be about somebody who's talking at you and you just don't say, hey, but this is as much as I really want to hear, and I can see this is important to you, but for me, this is right now not landing very well, and I'd rather be doing something else. You know, and then people get upset, and then you don't want them to be upset, so you're listening. At the same time, you're virtually drowning yourself in a bad chemistry, and then you're wondering why you have a headache next day or something like that. Yeah. Now, and then there is also present a habit of avoiding feelings. And I would add to it, and a habit of avoiding reactions to these feelings. Yeah, because you will have a feeling, you'll give it an expression, and there'll be part of you that's also going like, oh my God, I so don't feel like doing this. And you got to allow that bit as well. So one has to become really present with everything that's going on if you wanted to truly free your will and free your mind. Because the more your will is vibrating, the less your mind is rambling. So in this case, the person needs to look at his habit of avoiding feelings and decide if this is what he really wants to continue doing or not. If the feelings are allowed total acceptance and expression, they can begin telling the person what he needs in place of suppressing habit forms. Breaking out of habits may look like a stumbling block for many, but realizing the goal and seeing habits for what they are is going to allow the process through which they can drop away. Immediate goal is to feel better, to be more free, and enjoy life more. Now check this out. Habits are to the body what judgments are to the consciousness. And you see how we're constantly talking about these two realms. One is upper consciousness, mind, light, yeah? Or the will, feeling, mother, dark, yeah? Undesirable, feminine, by the way, yeah? Complexity of what is held there. Somewhere in between is the heart. That's basically, in most cases, just an idea. You know, we say in my heart, but nothing really happens. And then when the will comes, only then the heart can be born into manifestation. That's the real birth of Christ, let's say, if I use the Christian terminology, which I also enjoy using. Yeah? Oh. And when that opens, that's incomparable to anything that one knew before. It's really important that when a spirit and a will are in alignment, there is a birth of this exquisite magnetic, even like a sensation in a way. But it immediately begins to birth a new way of living, a new way of communicating, new way of meeting with people who also have their will vibrating, their heart reverberating, and now they enter into no longer exchanging so much information as entering into this communion, meeting in genuine love, and the vibratory power joins. It's like you have your gift and I have mine. So if I bring mine to the table and you bring yours, and we see what happens when we share those. When you bring your texture and I bring mine, it births something new. Yeah? Because like I said last time, we are in a relationship with everyone. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, it's all relationship. You cannot not be in a relationship. Eh? So habits are to the body what judgments are to consciousness. Both have rigidity. That's why it's very important to release judgments as well, not just move feelings. And have a look at thoughts and beliefs we have, and also give them a release. You know, like if you believe you're not good enough, hey, that's to be questioned. Like, not good enough in what? You might be so good at so many things and you don't address that, but you just put it all under one category, I'm not good enough. In comparison to what? So those are all just completely nonsensical statements that we hold on to, and they need release, because if you have this belief, guess what you're going to reap tomorrow? You're going to reap a reality in which you're not good enough. And now, I'll tell you one other secret with that. I call it a gray voice or gray zone, because you tell yourself these things silently in certain tone of voice. You know, just try it, like I'm not good enough, or whatever you tell yourself that you think you are. Notice the tone of voice and notice the familiarity, because this is what you impregnating your will with, and she sure manifests this for you. So it's very important to speak these statements out loud and give them what we call a formal release. Yeah, because the minute you speak them out loud, you go like, this is ridiculous. This is actually absolutely ridiculous. Or say it in a different tonality. It's like, I'm not good enough. You know, I am not good enough. Like, you know, you immediately see that it's just absolute nonsense. Yeah. However, how many people are really drowned by this constant, whatever their little karma drama is affecting them daily. It becomes a daily bread, right? Instead of, love or light or just joy that accompanies your life like music, like a feelings do. A piece of music, and it reverberates in you a field of dreams, field of exquisite sensations and rich textures of inexplicable beauty and splendor and radiance, and you realize you are the light of the world, but not if you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, because that doesn't fit together, does it? Habitual behavior is a judgment that is what was called for once is what is called for now, and therefore no change or growth has taken place. In actuality, change is needing to be constantly ongoing. In the same way that judgments stop and control movement of a consciousness, habits stop and control the movement of the body. Body is run down by this lack of sensitivity to its always changing needs. All the habits and appetites that man has had and enjoyed, for the most part, have been judged against as harmful to spiritual development. A list of things to avoid included alcohol, sugar, red meat, drugs, caffeine, marijuana, tobacco, sex, and extremes of any kind. The understanding is needed that the problem is not the substances themselves, but the habit patterns and the extremes often associated with the substances. You see? So people go on all sorts of crazy diets just to be enlightened, and it's just like complete nonsense, right? It just doesn't work that way at all. Like, the whole enlightenment is such a dumb shit thing anyway, because you are the light. If you feel it, you're enlightened. If you can sustain it, you're really enlightened. But it's not a big deal. People make such a big deal out of it and make, you can't do this and you can't do that. You must do this and you must not get angry anymore. All rubbish. When the light comes and completely encompasses and really comes back with this full alignment of the self, that at-one-ment that happens within the self, right? It's not that it comes from outside anywhere. It's just like you align with your whole self, you feel enlightened. And if you can sustain it, well, call it that way. But most of the enlightenment is just absolute rubbish. It's a carrot on a stick, and people are dumb and follow all these crazy routines and I don't know what. And most of those routines are nothing but a new habits formed that actually stops you from this flow. That's why you can sit on your ass for 20 years and still wonder, why that wall looks white. I'm just kidding. Anyway, this is how I see it. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's so much business going on behind all this spiritual development. It's just ridiculous, Okay, the substances have been taught to be causal, but it's consciousness that is causal and nothing else. For example, eating meat, especially red meat, has long been taught to make man too dense to receive spiritual illumination, and yet it is not causal here. Desire to eat meat has accompanied the consciousness needing it. Bingo, right? Nourishment must match the vibration of our consciousness taking it in. All habits drop away when the consciousness is released from the need for them. In not understanding what is causal here, yeah, when we're dealing with the effects, many have tried to break out of habits, giving up meat, for example, by using discipline and control. Can you see how that becomes another habit? This approach only causes the pattern of habit to change its form. Yeah, still habit. The reason for the habit patterns needs to be found and then accepted and understood, not condemned and disciplined away. Alright, I will complete it next time. It's quite a long chapter. There's quite a few chapters that are very long, so I guess they're gonna take as long as they do. So I'm gonna leave it at this point, and we shall continue when I feel like sitting here in front of this mic and not getting into habits of recording too much. Just kidding. Guys, thanks for listening. I hope this is making any sense to you. This is the most profound journey, and it does dispel lots of nonsense, particularly around the spiritual development and the actual truth of it all, which really is a right use of will. Without feelings, there is nothing. There's so much out there, and I can see that feelings like rarely mentioned, only if it's like how to get rid of it or how to control it. But to actually add it to the make it the actual goal of it all. Then I think I mentioned my golden experience. It's like when the will began to move, it was really like swimming in a golden river. It's like a state of mind that it was seriously like the most exquisite drug, and I didn't take anything. All that ever happened, that will being allowed to move more and more and more, suddenly kicked into this unstoppable movement, which is always there. You have that happening in you right now, but if you're not used to expressing negative feelings or even positive feelings, because I could guarantee you that I could get you to a state of ecstasy that you could not bear. It would be unbearable because you're not used to it. Because in the dance, the way the body is dense and thought patterns are very dense in this society, emotionalities almost out of control, and very little genuine heart presence, because without will, you can smile and you can talk and you can tell yourself it's all one and it's all love, but without will, it's just empty words until you feel the love and fully accept the love, absolutely 100%, not just 99, fully accept the love and know how to sustain, how to park in and allow that love to move you. We're just talking. And I know I say a lot, but it's only to point to this decomposition of these structures and these elaborate patterns that keep us in a prison of unexpressed will. All right, sweetheart, we'll catch you all very soon. Thanks for listening, and ciao.